Oh, look, I just got a notification on my phone from YouTube saying that we just went, or is going live. Look at that. How wonderful. How wonderful.
All right, so there goes the professional intro out the window.
What?
Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gaming Perspective Podcast, episode 41, Borderlands, ? Thank you for joining us on another Saturday evening, and of course, welcome. I hope you guys enjoy your stay, enjoy the live chat, be respectful, have fun. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about. It has been a hectic week. So we've got a full panel tonight. So we're going to get straight to the introductions. We'll go descending on my left as it appears on my screen. We have editor for the Inner Circle Games Network, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
And also on my further left, Jared from the Inner Circle Games Network.
Hello, hello.
And also on my furthest left, joining us from the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Mr. Eric Jackson.
Hello, everybody. What's going on?
And I, of course, am me. So welcome to the podcast. It's been a while since all of us have convened. It's great to have Eric back in the fold again. And good to everything's smoothed out for you again. I'm really happy to have you back. We need someone to keep Sam reined in.
Out of control, Sam.
Out of control, Sam. No, that'll be in August when Control comes out. Sam will be out of control.
Oh my goodness! Wow. He went there.
All right, we need a dad joke counter in the corner. I need to figure out how to edit that in because I need someone pointed out I made 7 dad jokes in one episode of the podcast. I'm like, yes, someone's keeping track. So we're going to go straight into what we've been playing. So since it's been a while, we will let Eric go first. Eric, what have you been playing?
Let's see. Well, I'm trying to think. Actually, just Sekiro, pretty much. Still very early in it because Sam and I have been grinding the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne and trying to work on the platinum. And as I'm sure Sam will get into, we were doing pretty darn good until we got to Lower Lauren.
Yep. Well, not even that. Until we got to the final layer of Lower
Lauren. Yeah. And the Lauren Dark Beast has different ideas for us. So yeah. So I've been on spring break this week, and we've been putting in that work, and that's kind of where we're stuck right now. But we're gonna get that dude.
Yeah, we are. He's going down.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's been pretty much it. And I do want to get back to Sekiro. Like I said, in between that and Bloodborne, that's been pretty much it. So it's been From Software festivities, nonstop.
All right. This is this podcast is officially sponsored by.
No kidding. No, this definitely this episode.
All right, Jared, what have you been playing?
Oh, I don't think it's really different than most other people right now.
It still better be Anthem.
Oh,
anybody playing?
That was cold-blooded, brother. Damn. I'm playing Sekiro right now. Come on. You know it better than that. No, I've really been enjoying my time with Sekiro recently. You guys all know I'm a big From Software fan and a big Dark Souls fan and Bloodborne as well. Yeah, I've just been having a phenomenal time with it and just really, really, yeah, it's good. It's nice to have one of these games again. And it kind of sucks waiting so long in between these types of games because they're so good. They're such a gem that you want more of it when it's done. But you kind of can't. And you have to wait. And you go, oh. So, yeah, I'm enjoying my time with Sekiro.
Right on. And Sam?
Yeah, so as Eric said, we've been playing a lot of Bloodborne. That is where a lot of my time has been. And like he said, we did really well. I mean, we clobbered through those opening dungeons. It was a slaughter. We did an incredible job until we got here. And it has just been brutal. Mad women hacking us to pieces on the lower levels and rickety bridges and catacombs that go on and on and on and getting lost. But we made it through that. Only to hit the Dark Beast, and I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
it's some nonsense. It's some high caliber, high grade nonsense.
Yeah.
But we have looked at things. We have a plan. We're gonna get him. I know we will.
Okay, so
And
I've got a question for you because you guys both brought this up. As a person who did not get that far in Bloodborne, Chalice Dungeons, I keep hearing people say this is the most horrible part of getting the platinum for Bloodborne.
it is.
And they're absolutely right.
What is it? Is it like a boss rush mode?
Eric, you want
No,
to explain it? Go ahead.
It the best way I can describe it, and Sam kind of said this as well. It's their version of buddy time, I guess. In a way, it's like they gotta. I mean, you can co-op Bloodborne in general, but it's kind of meant to, I guess, test your mettle as a Bloodborne player. So you're literally dungeon crawling. You're literally going through like three levels, 3 layers of these dungeons with enemies, some that you face from the main game, but also enemies that were not in the game. And yeah, in order to get the platinum, you have to go through the Chalice dungeon because there's a particular weapon in there that you have to get to clear out, to finish off the weapons list. And then there's a final boss. And of course, leave it to From, they put her in the very, very last final dungeon that you have to go through.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's literally, it just feels like the oddest, most disjointed part of Bloodborne. For everything else that Bloodborne does as a game, the Chalice dungeons can go in the bushes.
Yeah, they can. Like I said, and I warned Eric about this before we started it. I said, look, not having a co-op partner is the reason I never got the platinum for this. I just figured, oh, well, can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a chance. But seriously, it's nonsense because they ramp up the difficulty and they ramp up the difficulty and there's a grind and there's no reason for it. It's the only trophy, or excuse me, the only 2 trophies, because the Beast Claw weapon is in the dungeons as well, that are behind it, and everything else is in the single player game. There's no reason for that.
It's like they're forcing you into it.
Yeah, they're forcing you into it. Like, I respect what they were doing. I really do. They were trying to get this infinitely replayable, infinitely remixable area that you could just customize and, grind over and over to have fun and play Bloodborne with your friends. But like, I don't want to do that. Just give me more unique areas in the single player and we'll co-op it.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. That's been my gripe with Chalice Dungeons too.
Yeah, and I would say I can't imagine, and people can feel free to correct us in the comments or in the chat right now. I would wonder if anybody, once they did the platinum, went back and did the Chalice dungeons. Hey, what's a good idea? Let's get together and do the Chalice dungeons, as opposed to just co-opting Bloodborne itself.
Exactly. Exactly, man. Yeah,
because Sam and I were kind of like, and then the other thing that we were thinking is, okay, you want this to be sort of like a co-op experience. You can kind of tell that because, like Sam said, it's ridiculous. And when we get to this other part, Sam explained to me, just for the hell of it, and just for the fun of it, they decide they half your health.
Yep.
So they take half your health and say, all right, now go through the dungeon.
Just because it's called "You Are Cursed." You are cursed. Go forth.
That reminds me of some like cheesy like '90s PC game stuff I used to get, and why I used to play like really low budget dungeon crawlers, where they're like, oh, there was a dungeon crawler. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember playing it. And if you were doing too well, even if you were on the hardest difficulty, they'd nerf you. They'd be like, oh, you do 50% less damage now. Oh, you have 25% less health. It's like, stop, I was having a good time. Why you gotta ruin it?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I understand challenge in buffing, but it's like it's kind of insane. It's kind of insane, to be honest with you. So it's just, and like I said, we've been on this final boss and gotten him down to like where it's almost done, but it's just ridiculous. Like, the camera's your enemy, so you can't even really lock onto him.
Mm-hmm.
He's huge. He's all skeleton and like lightning fur and just moving everywhere. You're supposed to just like strike at him, but he's taller than you in the whole 9 and takes remarkable amounts of damage. Like, if he hits you, you watch your health just go like down back to half. So it's kind of crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, it's absurd, but we're gonna do it, and we will. I'll tell you this: if anyone has a Bloodborne platinum, you show them some respect. Because that is a badge. That is a badge of honor.
And we're there. I mean, like, I have one more trophy to go to have the platinum. So we're grinding.
Yeah, it's like
nice. Nice.
Yeah. So, but it's just, I mean, the fun part of it is the fact that we're actually doing it together and having fun, and like you said, up to this point, we've just been beasting like most of these things because we're both like level 100 something, 130
Yeah, like
or something
120, 130. Yeah.
So we're just going through and just like, shish kebabbing most of these things.
It is the reason the Chalice dungeons, I'll say this, are the reasons, unfortunately, that Bloodborne is a flawed masterpiece instead of just a masterpiece. Because if it's just the single player, I think Eric and I are on the same area. 10 out of 10, one of the best games this gen.
Absolutely. And honestly, and if you really want to go this route, you want to do this, they have a really weird, archaic way of doing co-op. Like you use a password, you have to, it's almost like they're playing the Nintendo way of finding each other. So you do that, and it's hit or miss sometimes. Like sometimes you're loading right in, and sometimes it's like, maybe I need to run back this way down this hall to get it to recognize that you're trying to come into my game, right? But we said a simple mechanic that would have been great is to be able to drop and share items. You can't do that. So like if you're missing something, you literally have to go back while your partner's waiting for you and grind to try to get like materials that you need to go into a different level.
Right.
As opposed to, guess what? I've been grinding, so I have like 19 of this particular thing that you need one of, but I can't give it to you.
So in interest of platinum rarity, just out of my own sheer curiosity, I went into psnprofiles.com. And of course, this is based off registered users as well. So keep that in mind.
Sure.
It's got a 23% platinum rating.
That's among registered users, though. It's
if
way
I switch
lower.
it, if you click on it, it shows the actual user base of, and it's still got a high platinum rating compared to most games. It's got 5.7%. Which is,
I think that's because due to the type of players that are playing the game, they are willing to stick with it. I could be wrong, but I think that's the explanation.
I think it is. I think that's what it is. I also think it's also one of the most straightforward From Software completions as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's none of the Dark Souls nonsense of acquire all sorceries, completely acquire all lost soul weapons. Like it's just that's the irony, right? Like apart from the endings and the Chalice dungeon stuff, you'll get most of the trophies just from playing the game. That's the funniest thing. But
we're not, trust me, we're not calling for we're not about to write From Software and tell them to patch the game.
No. Well, A, that ship has sailed. But B, it's just voicing a bit of displeasure considering it's one of our favorite games this generation. Otherwise, the other thing I've been playing is Sekiro. Obviously, I've been playing a ton of Sekiro, really trying to write some guides and my review on it, but every time I think I'm getting close, like, nope, there's more to it. There's more to it. This game is something. That is all I can say right now. It is fantastic, but I'm saving what I have to say about Sekiro for the actual review and stuff like that. Beyond that, though, Nick, I did want to tell you, I installed Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines, and I got to screw around with it. It's definitely old. Like, you can tell it hasn't aged well in terms of graphical fidelity, but the immersive sim and RPG elements, stellar. Absolutely stellar. That stuff, and the writing quality, stellar. That stuff still holds up now.
Question for you.
Sure.
Because I believe I sent it to you via GOG, or you picked up via GOG, or whatever the case may be.
Yes, GOG.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you install the mod package with it?
I did not. I wanted to get an idea of what the base game was without touching the mods.
Okay. Because there's a new update coming out, I think, next week for that mod package that updates the textures even further. So
point me a link to that if you wouldn't mind.
I will definitely send that to you.
Cool.
So everyone's playing Sekiro. I'm playing Sekiro too, except I'm terrible at From Software games. So it's taking me a lot longer than these guys. I killed my first boss. I feel like a badass. I'm really enjoying the game. What I'm really enjoying is the incredible stacking of odds against me and the never-ending cycle of mini bosses.
Yes.
I will give you guys an example. I got to the Chained Ogre. He people's elbowed me into oblivion a couple of times. And by a couple of times, I mean every NPC in the world has died of dragon rot.
It's like, you're all, hey, guys, you're all getting it. Let's go.
Sorry, guys. Y'all got
they all seriously died?
No, they didn't all seriously die. I don't think.
Okay.
I haven't checked on people, but
Okay.
people are not.
Please use restoration.
Yeah, I stopped I went to the pharmacy. I put the prescription in. I got the the blood for him. I'm like, sorry guys, but I got to resurrect. I got to resurrect. Sorry.
Yeah. So I beat the ogre, and I was like, oh man, that was a super satisfactory feeling beating him. I was like, yes. Yeah, I literally hop over the wall, and it's a big ass samurai with double health bar. I'm like, oh, okay. So I got through him in like under 5 tries. I was like patting myself on the back, and then they throw this giant snake at you, which I spent half an hour trying to fight. I couldn't lock onto it, so I was
Nick.
I'm like sitting in the bushes. Like as it brings its head over, I was jumping up, hitting it, and then crouching back down and trying to like hide from it.
You're brave, man. Because I don't think anyone in the right mind would try to attack something like that. Dude, just hide and run.
Yeah. So see, Jared, my coward is like right. I was like, "Oh, there's a hut." And I ran over.
I'm on the same page with y'all. It's like big snake. Nope.
ooh, hide.
I mean, there's a shack to run into. I'm going over there.
Oh God, he's looking at me.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all playing From Software games. I'm playing God of War 2018.
Hey, Nick, is that what I said? If this was God of War, I'm like, I'm gonna go kill that thing.
Oh boy.
This is not God of War. There's a very limited number of characters who can get away with something like that.
Right.
Kratos is one of them.
Exactly.
Sekiro is not.
Yeah. So I figured out the hut thing. Thanks to shout out to Suni Ledger on Twitter for uploading a GIF. I figured out the hut thing. So I moved along my way, got into the fortress, feeling super accomplished about being able to sneak and stealth kill everyone that was in that complex.
Absolutely super bad.
And then I hop down, and it's like this war-torn battlefield. And I'm like, oh, this is definitely a boss fight. There is no way this isn't a boss fight. And then I walk, and this guy, he just starts yelling at me. He's just like, my name is. I'm just like, oh, good Lord. And
actually, there's a clip on Twitter I just saw of that exact same thing. He bursts out the door. I am General. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. It's like I have it in Japanese, so it sounds super epic. But I saw the English voiceover on it, and it's hilarious.
So yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, what are you playing? Because I asked Sam, like, what voice track was he using? The English or Japanese?
I have to use.
I started out on English, but then I switched to Japanese. Yeah, because I actually ended up enjoying the Japanese one a little bit more.
Yeah, I went with Japanese. I went back and forth a little bit, but I'm back on Japanese now.
I've done both. I like them both. I'm doing the English one right now just for my first playthrough, I think, to like understand off the get-go instead of having to read the subtitles. But they're both good. I mean, a bunch of effort was put into both. Like, versions,
definitely.
I would say.
Oh, here it is.
Well,
see, Sam, I might switch back now because I've felt the same way. It's like, do I want to do the English just because I want to understand everything?
There's something about these games where it has to be in Japanese. I have to read subtitles. I did the same thing with the Yakuza games because it kind of felt wrong. I don't want to say it's wrong because it's preference to everything else, but I'm slightly hearing impaired, so subtitles help me out a lot as it is. Like all my games I play are subtitled, so I'm just kind of like I watch Netflix with subtitles if that makes you physically ill. But that's just what I do. So I got this general comes barreling out. He's massive. He's like twice the size of me. He's on a huge horse. He's got a swingy thing. I'm like, this is going to be rough. I'm like, this is the part where I get stuck on for 3 days. Beat him first try. Still can't figure it out. I was like, oh, okay. I did another sneaky part. Was feeling really proud of myself. And then they just tossed this like 40-foot long flaming bowl. I'm like, I was like, first of all, what are we feeding these animals between the 12-foot tall chicken and the like 7,000-pound bowl? Second of all, why is it on fire?
Right?
Like, I so many questions. I'm having a blast with the game. I'm getting very angry while playing it. I played in 20-minute spurts of me spastically getting angry at it. And I'm having a great time. But today I went out and picked up a couple of PC games. I picked up Papers, Please, Paratopic, because I picked up on itch.io. I wanted support on Steam. And also picked up Dusk. So I started playing Dusk today. And
great game.
Oh my God. This game is so good. It's like everything that would encapsulated 90s shooters, first-person shooters, and all the good stuff. Like, to give you guys an idea, I was playing a level, and you have sickles as your melee weapon. They don't really do a lot of damage. I crouched and found this hole behind a rock. I literally picked up like a two-handed knight sword. So I've been just running around hacking people to like cultists to pieces with essentially Excalibur, and it's the best feeling in the world. And every time I sit there and go, like, I had a moment, it was like dual wielding shotguns and you flip them as you like rechamber them.
Amazing.
And I'm just like, this can't get any better than this. And then was like, oh, they're like, oh, here's a super shotgun, which is a double barrel. I'm like, oh, okay, so it gets even better. And then they're like, oh, here's a crossbow, and the bolt goes through as many enemies as you want. It spawns like 8 enemies. I shoot one bolt, kills them all. I'm like, I'm like, can this game get any better? It's amazing. I believe it was made by one guy, I think. Or it's made by like maybe 2 or 3 people. It's insane. If you have a computer that has a graphics card in it, you can play this game.
Nice.
It's amazing. Love the design. If you like Doom, if you liked Redneck Rampage, if you like any of those 90s shooters, pick this up. It's so good, and it's well worth the. I paid $20 on Steam, so for you Americans, it's probably like $5.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, that's what we've been playing. So the next like 3 weeks of what we've been playing is going to be Sekiro.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Next 6 months for me is going to be playing Sekiro, and that's just to beat it. Because nobody's paying me $1,000 to rush through it. Moving on into the news. So, CD Projekt Red claims E3 2019 will be their biggest E3 ever. Which, you know, I don't know if anyone remembers the Witcher 3 reveal and all that, but that was pretty huge.
Yeah, I would think so.
Now, I think some people are reading too much into this. I don't know any company that'd be like, yeah, this upcoming show we're going to do isn't important.
Right.
But CD Projekt Red released their financials reports for fiscal year 2018. During the financial results, they revealed some interesting information about attending the upcoming E3 2019. CEO Adam Kaczynski said that E3 2019 will be the most important E3 in the company's history, considering their past history. That's a bold statement. Historically, CD Projekt Red has held a strong presence at E3, presenting The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt in 2013 and 2014, then announcing Gwent, the Witcher card game, in 2016. Last year, they showed off Cyberpunk 2077 as the finale for the Xbox E3 2018 conference. The most important aspect is also detailed in this financial report is they have 2 AAA titles that they plan to release before 2021.
Mm-hmm.
We know about Cyberpunk 2077.
What else do they got cooking?
Well, we all know another Witcher game's coming eventually. Like, that's inevitable. That series blew up with 3, and it deservedly so.
Mm-hmm.
I say this because Sam's in the room and he would stab me in the back if I said otherwise. So we know a Witcher sequel is coming, but CD Projekt Red has also been on a hiring spree. They've picked up a lot of people, and the company's huge. So could they be developing a Witcher follow-up and Cyberpunk at the same time? Like, and when they say E3 2019 is going to be big, does that mean we're going to get a release window for Cyberpunk? Sam, I want Sam's thoughts as the resident CD Projekt Red fan.
There's 2 possibilities as to what they're doing. They're not working on new IP. I'll say that. And CD Projekt has explicitly stated in the past at previous financial reports that even though Witcher 3 came out and Geralt's story was concluded, that they view The Witcher as their second most important IP even now after, Cyberpunk, with Cyberpunk as being their focus. All right, I could be wrong. I think Cyberpunk is going to come out in 2020. I do believe that I think it's going to come out in May 2020. to be precise, in line with what I previously said. And if that's the case, I think they'll announce that release window at this E3. I think they will announce that. I don't think they're going to announce their next game yet. I think they'll save that for E3 2020. There's two possibilities for their other game. I think one of them is a multiplayer Cyberpunk spinoff. Sort of like a multiplayer version of Cyberpunk, a multiplayer add-on, a multiplayer game to go with it, something like that, because they've partnered with Digital Scapes, which is a multiplayer-focused studio, and that studio is assisting the development of Cyberpunk. Why do they need help from them unless there's going to be multiplayer involved? That's one possibility. The other is like a smaller in scale Witcher game. Like, I don't think it would be Witcher 3 size. I think you're talking like a 40 to 50 hour game, something like that. I think that could happen.
Do you think CD Projekt Red could follow the trend of Arcane Studios and other developers in terms of doing a standalone expansion style
yes,
title?
Exactly. I think that could happen.
So instead of expecting like a Witcher 4, think more Wolfenstein Youngblood, Death of the Outsider.
That in terms of scale, yes. In terms of by comparison to Witcher 3, yes.
Okay, I can.
That's
Eric, your thoughts?
No, I'm sort of in that same line. I think I think there will be a release date for Cyberpunk, but I don't think that when they say it'll be their biggest, I personally think there's going to be an announcement in the Witcher franchise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe it. I buy it.
And I'm hoping, and I've talked to Sam about this, I'm hoping it's like something like Siri focused.
Seems very likely.
Yeah.
Seems very, very likely. She's, extremely popular. Third game, I mean, this is not a spoiler. Come on, this helped to set her up. It really focused on her, bringing her back in after she wasn't in the first two games. And it's a great way to pass on the torch in a way that people won't hate you for the game not having Geralt as the focus.
Right. And if you're going to, utilize that, then it could always be like some flashback memory type stuff. Geralt's going to have like an appearance of some sort, but it shouldn't definitely be focused on him. And like we also talked about, I'm hoping it's a little more of a focused type game where it's like, 30, 40 hours, in that idea, something like that. I don't think it needs to be another 200 plus hour game.
No, I think it would be like the size of maybe Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone put together. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A 30 to 50 hour max spin-off title.
Right.
And kind of in line with what Nick was saying, like Dishonored Death of the Outsider compared to Dishonored 2. I think that's a very good comparison.
Yeah. Man, Death of the Outsider was so good.
Yeah, jeez. Arcane is perfect. Jeez.
Okay, guys, we're not getting into the Arcane conversation because we're all just
That's a rabbit hole. That's a rabbit hole we're going to go down.
Your thoughts, because I know you're also a massive Witcher fan as well.
Yeah, I like these guys said. I think, of course, a Witcher 4 or another standalone expansion, not an expansion, but a standalone game, maybe a short one, like these guys have been saying, is definitely a possibility. I haven't really thought much on it, because I can't really think of much of what they could really announce or do to really hype up the studio even more than what it already is. Like, you already got Cyberpunk 2077 coming out. You already got the Witcher series going on. We don't know there's going to be another Witcher game coming. What else you got to do? What else you going to make? Like, I'm more curious than anything else as to what's going to go on at E3, because if it's going to be CD Projekt Red's biggest E3 in the company's history, why would you miss out on something like that? Like, really? So yeah, I'm more curious than anything else.
Well, I've got I'm vaguely curious about, but also like every company is going to say this E3 is our biggest. Like, come on now, Microsoft has said
true.
E3. Like no one ever. I think Sean Layden, prior to Sony's E3 2018, was the first person that ever came out and was like, temper your expectations. Did anyone listen? No, but like, keeping it 100, every company is going to want to flex a little and say this is going to be our biggest. But according to financial reports, it does point to some big announcements from CD Projekt Red, and people should be excited about that because they are a very premium developer.
Definitely. So,
all right.
E3 is going to be a special year this year, eh?
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to get more into that. There's an episode planned for that, so we'll talk about that. Now, this is one that not many people on this cast will care about, but it's important news nonetheless. Bethesda announces a slew of games will be coming to Steam. The PC gaming market seems to be embroiled in a storefront battle, which most notably has seen Epic Games buying up one-year exclusivity deals on big AAA titles. No matter your opinion on this strategy, it appears to only be becoming all too common to see another game go exclusively to the Epic Games Store. However, in a surprise announcement from developer/publisher Bethesda, a slew of their upcoming releases will be releasing on Steam. It has been no secret that Bethesda has been trying to push their own storefront, which saw Rage 2 be announced as a Bethesda storefront exclusive after Fallout 76 also launched as a Bethesda storefront exclusive. It seems Bethesda has had a change of heart, as today their official Twitter account tweeted a list of games that will be coming to the Bethesda Game Store as well as Steam. These games are Rage 2, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, and Doom Eternal would all be coming to Steam day one, with Fallout 76, which was previously only available through Bethesda's launcher, will be coming to Steam at a later date. So options are awesome. The Bethesda launcher wasn't terrible. I didn't understand the complaints with it other than having another launcher on your computer. But it's cool to see more games going to more distribution rights. I didn't understand when Bethesda was like, we're not putting our games on Steam anymore. I'm like, why would you stop putting your games on a platform that makes you money? It seemed like an odd move. I know they were trying to push the Bethesda Game Store and everything else, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's important to note that these games weren't going to be available because earlier last year, Bethesda announced that they would pretty much only be releasing games on the Bethesda Game Store, but they seem to have redacted on that viewpoint. Any thoughts from you guys on this?
Not really.
It's interesting.
Nice to come back.
It's interesting to see some storefronts or some companies aligning with Steam and others aligning with Epic. That's what I'll say. It doesn't affect me personally because I bought all their games on console, but it's interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's sort of like you're watching console wars happen on the PC platform now.
Yeah, it's strange, man.
Where that was sort of like neutral ground in a way for so long.
Yeah, but not anymore.
No, man. Like,
no, it's interesting to watch, and it's interesting for me, more importantly, because I was a PC gamer when Steam first came around, and people said Steam would never take off because there's no way people would give up having physical copies of their games on PC, and that there was no way that PC game stores would go the way of the dinosaur because of Steam. And here we are. Try to find a PC game store. Try to find a physical copy of a computer game.
It's like nearly impossible.
Yeah, there are some releases that are still physical and everything else, but who really does that anymore? Not a lot of people. It's, I don't know, it's cool and everything else to just see more games going where they are. And as Eric said, it's really neat to see people align themselves. So, we're siding with Steam, or we're siding with the Epic Game Store. It's just really interesting to see. I think the ultimate irony would have been if the Halo Master Chief Collection went to the Epic Game Store. There'd be something hilarious to me about that, but I digress. It is what it is. So there was a pretty big game announcement that happened this week, and a lot of people are really excited about it. World of Warcraft bundles coming to GOG.
Yeah, baby. Woo!
That was
this one, man.
That was
so excited. All the World of Warcraft expansions in one bundle. I'm so stoked.
No, it's not World of Warcraft. I lied. It's Warcraft 1 and 2. Warcraft Orcs and Humans and Warcraft 2 BattleNet Edition.
Why you gotta be like that?
Came to GOG today, which is pretty exciting because GOG's recently taken up an initiative with Blizzard in partnership, has been bringing back some of their classic games. You can pick up the original Diablo for $13 on GOG.com, and that's pretty amazing. So
yeah,
it's awesome to see these classic Blizzard games coming out, and it was amazing. So Sam sent me the tweet to write up the article for it, and it had been live for about 3 hours on the GOG store. There was in excess of about 118 pages of comments of people going, "This is so awesome that these games are coming back." Blah 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 blah. Game preservation, people. It's important. These games matter. These old games, people still love these games. People tease me for my PC gaming facets because they're like, "Oh, all you do is play old games on PC." I'm like, "Yeah, because they're perfect." Damn it! I was looking on Steam today because I had some Steam cards. I was like, "Oh, they got Age of Empires and Age of Mythology." I'm like, I need these games. Like right now, I got Age of Mythology. I have a cereal box, I think, and they want $32 for it on Steam. I'm like, this is, But I digress. I'll stop talking about PC gaming. I know I've probably put half the audience to sleep about it. So the big announcement was actually Borderlands 3 just got announced. There was no medieval time references. I'm utterly disappointed. Between Jason Schreier and Jeff Grubb, they stole every one of my jokes that I was going to use or I used in DM format. I'm salty. So I'll leave the dunking for the end. So there was a lot of Borderlands announcements. So they announced Borderlands 3. Everyone's excited. Woo. The Handsome Jack collection is getting 4K DLC. That's exciting, I guess. And Borderlands, the original Borderlands is getting a remake because or a remaster because cell shading in 4K. All right, I'm not going to pretend to be excited. Okay, Sam, what do you think about the Borderlands 3 reveal?
You left out the fact that they're updating those games to support 4-player split-screen co-op. That's not exactly an easy feat.
Sorry, no, you will not force me to give Gearbox credit for absolutely anything.
Oh my god, Nick. Oh my god. I'm not even a Borderlands fan or defender, okay? Here's the thing, all right? I'm not even that big of a Borderlands fan. It was mildly interesting. I'll see where the announcement goes. I'll see, what the remaster is like. But what I'll say is this. Anyone who thought that this franchise was dead is wrong. I had my doubts as to whether or not people would care. I really did. But people absolutely care. The new Twitter account got over 1 million followers in just a few hours. It was like hundreds of thousands of people watched the Twitch live stream reveal. So people care about this game. We'll see what really it does.
I'll tell you too, Sam. I mean, Slow Mo and Forte from Brab, man. I don't know if you guys know, Forte plays Destiny like he drinks water.
Yeah, he's pretty religious.
He said the other day when Borderlands drops, he's out on Destiny 2.
I've heard a lot of people say the same thing.
In the bushes, and I'm like, wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's absolutely crazy.
People love this franchise, man. Absolutely love it.
And here's what I will say. I will say I love Tales from the Borderlands, and here's why I have a bit of interest. Because those characters are going to be in here. They showed Reese and what looks like Fiona as well, although she cut her hair. But it was definitely Reese. And so if you've played Tales from the Borderlands, that's a big deal to you because even before Telltale folded, it was one of their best games, and they said we'd never get a sequel. So the fact that Telltale folded, but they're still like Gearbox is taking care of those characters and making them a part of their narrative, that's actually a big deal because it's kind of like, okay, we got you. It's all right. We'll take care of these characters from here. They're not going to be forgotten. We're not going to forget what happened. And that's a pretty cool idea. Out of all these looter shooters, quote unquote, you've had Anthem, you've had Division 2, you've had Destiny 2. A lot of them have done things right. A lot of them have done things wrong. And so I'm very curious to see A, where Borderlands 3 lands, and B, how well it does. But I'm not like immediately, oh yeah, OMG, day one picking this up, but neither am I going to rule it out and say, no, I definitely won't play it. I have my eyes on it. We'll see how it goes from here.
Well, I'm glad they brought the Telltale characters in because, you need to bring the characters in from the only good Borderlands game. That's important. Okay, no, seriously. Eric, you go. Please, just don't let me talk about this.
No, I'm not the biggest Borderlands fan. I shouldn't say fan, but the biggest Borderlands player. I've completely missed out on the first one. Probably because I was just playing other things at the time and just never I kind of missed the boat on it. played a good bit of Borderlands 2, but it was never like my major like go-to. But what I did play, I did like, So I mean, I don't know all the characters ins and outs. I don't know like the whole world like a lot of people do. But I'm sort of in that same boat with Sam, like because I missed that boat, and I know like more people now who are into it who will be playing it. I may actually check it out. I've always liked the style. I like the look, and at this point, I try not to let any feelings on Randy kind of taint how I feel about Borderlands.
Yeah.
Which I think some of that is going on.
Mm-hmm. I think some of that is definitely going on. And do you mind me interjecting a point here, Eric?
Nope. Go right ahead.
I stayed off of Twitter about this whole thing. But I've got to say, here's the realities of it. There's a lot not to like about Randy Pitchford. Okay, even before a lot of things have happened, there's a lot not to like. But technically speaking, the things he was accused of remain unproven.
Right.
And they were in a civil lawsuit from a former friend where there's a lot of crap slinging, and there is no proof as of yet. And if there is no proof, then a charge of that caliber, technically speaking, according to U.S. law, counts as being what's the word? Besmirching someone's name, basically, is what the point I'm trying to get. Like at that point, you are disgracing their name illegally. I'm not going to do that if there is no proof. I refuse to help contribute to a man's life being ruined if he did not actually do something. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I think we need to be very careful about how we criticize certain things. Does that make sense?
I think that's a pretty valid opinion, honestly. I'd back that one up, Sam.
Well,
I do too. And my comment, I'm sorry, Nick, I'm to say my comment wasn't really necessarily based on like his, I guess, quote unquote issues. It's just, you hear like all these different things. I'm talking like more so like how, things are handled as a developer, kind of like how.
Oh yeah, no. He has an abrasive personality. That's not up for debate. He's very abrasive. He's done some rude things in the past. Like that's basic stuff that's not up for debate. I agree.
Yeah, it's more on that level. And then on top of that, how cringe that presentation was for all the Borderlands stuff.
Eric, did you get a chance? Did any of you guys get a chance to watch it? Because I did.
Unfortunately, I did. I was like, oh my God, do a run through.
It was that bad, eh?
Well, okay, they had some technical difficulties. Sometimes you can't get around that. But outside of the technical difficulties, it just looked like nobody practiced or did a run through of what they were going to talk about.
Oh no!
He's on stage doing magic and all this other stuff.
Magic tricks.
What?
What is going on?
No.
Jared, Randy Pitchford is an amateur magician. He's been obsessed with magic tricks since he was a teenager. And they did, what was it, Eric, like 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
He stopped the show to do magic card tricks.
10, 15 long minutes.
Oh no, that's so bad.
Yeah, I was like, Randy, people already are kind of suspect of you and kind of don't like your personality, and you're up here doing magic. Bro, don't do it. And then, granted, it was a panel at PAX, but still, when people do these things, you can tell that they have some kind of like script, some kind of game plan. Okay, if this happens, we're going to do this. Because technical difficulties happen, right? No, they were floundering, man. They were like, they were passing the mic to. They had like developers on the stage from the company, and they're passing the mic. Like, I don't know what to, like, almost like I don't know what to say. It's like, hey, really... I'm Jerry, and I work in sanitation. That kind of thing.
Dude, it sounds like that GIF. Well, it sounds like it was that GIF that the dog sitting in the fire drinking the cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Going, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you were there, you made out like a bandit because I think everybody in the audience got like all the new updated games and all that stuff for free.
Ooh.
So they were really
I don't know if that was it, but they were handing out swag. I mean, they were handing out.
They were hooking that part up. It just looked. It was just uncomfortable. It was just really odd and awkward. And Randy, you can tell he didn't seem very comfortable on stage to begin with.
He definitely seemed nervous. I'll say that. And he did, to be fair, he did say that they've been working on this game for like over 5 years. They want it to be the best they can. Like, I try to cut people a little bit of slack in that. I know developers are human. This was not an E3 presentation. Right. But at the same time, it was awkward. It was awkward as all heck and all get out. No question.
Yeah. Oh, that's brutal,
it just seemed like, they were going to show it, and they were very much leaning on the stuff that they had to show. And then when they had the technical difficulties where nothing would play right, and things were free. I mean, it was like, oh man, this thing is really just not going right. And they had nothing to back that up to say, okay, if option A completely falls out from under us, we're going to switch to option B. They didn't know what to do.
That's why at E3 and stuff like that, I have been told there's like 3 different versions of these presentations and demos. So if one crashes, they will instantly swap it over to the next one.
Yeah,
and I've had some of the people who like worked at E3 tell me that things have crashed in the background and people didn't know about. Like you never suspect that something had happened. Right. So when we do see something like a technical issue at E3, it's pretty bad in the background there.
Yeah, so that's all of it. I mean, it's, you know, what you think Borderlands is a big deal.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's big enough to where you don't want to have that kind of thing happen. I mean, people are understanding. Obviously, like I said, it's PAX. People are just happy that, I mean, they got it out and the information got out there and people are still excited. It didn't really, I don't think, kill anything on that level. But I'm guessing, you know, that's definitely not the way they wanted it to go. Right. They wanted to be able to show you, you know, that video and kind of get people like hyped off of that. But yeah. It went left on them pretty quick.
All right. So because I need to put this out there because it's going to come across like this. I don't hate Gearbox because of Randy Pitchford. Randy Pitchford is just a sub part of why I think it's not like my hatred of David Cage where all of Quantic Dreams is tainted by the fact that David Cage is a terrible human being. Gearbox for me is they get a pass. In the terms of they had one good game franchise and literally have done nothing but released garbage outside of that. Like if you start going into what games they made, and this is why I have no confidence in Borderlands 3. So they have Borderlands 2, which was an absolute hit, which they put on everything. It's on Linux, it's on Mac, it's on PlayStation 3, Vita, Windows, Xbox 360, your toaster. It's like Skyrim, basically. Okay? Borderlands Legends came to iOS, for God's sakes. They were milking the hell out of this in 2012. And then came Aliens Colonial Marines, which was one of the worst video games of all time. Maybe? Yeah. Borderlands pre-sequel.
I don't mean to cut you off, but wasn't it fixed recently with a code?
By someone else that did that work there. So, wait.
I didn't
they made a spelling error. It was
so
one thing too, wasn't it?
They did Aliens Colonial Marine. They did Borderlands the pre-sequel, but when they released it, it wasn't available. Until they re-released it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't available on next-gen consoles. They released it in 2014, but wasn't available on Xbox One and PS4, which was the dumbest decision I've ever seen. It came with the Handsome Jack collection a year later. So we're still milking Borderlands into 2015, and then we released Battleborn. The thing is for me is I don't understand the obsession. For me, it's like people always like dump on me because they say I like childish, mindless games. And then these are the same people that I'm hearing getting excited for Borderlands 3, and I'm sitting there going, really? Borderlands is as a series, the story makes no sense to me, and it's basically fart jokes strung together with loot is the essence of that game to me. And I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get why people find this exciting. And like they're like, we've got 1 billion different types of guns. Okay, that's cool. I'm never going to play the game long enough to get 1 billion different guns. That's a pretty useless statistic. There's so much about that game's franchise that aggravates me. It was the same problem I had with Metroid Prime fans when they said Nintendo put a still image up and people were like, best game ever. I'm like, okay, we haven't even seen it yet. Can you shut up? And look where that game ended up. I have no faith in Gearbox to deliver, and their weird ass presentation just cemented that for me. Like, who in their right mind, they're like, all right, people are saying some suspect things about Randy Pitchford. And if these things are false, then he's being slandered openly. So he has his reputation on the line. So they're like, you know what? Randy's being, slandered online right now with some really negative things. We should put him in a jean jacket with a 3 on the back and let him do magic tricks for 15 minutes. Who signed off on that? Who got paid to go, we should let Randy do magic? Like, I feel like someone in a board of directors room somewhere saw that presentation and had to, like, clutch his heart in horror.
No, isn't he the guy? He's the man, right?
Yeah, well, Randy Pitchford and there's a few co-owners as well, but I don't know if that's still to this day. It's hard to. Regardless, I have a tendency. I try not to dump on what people enjoy. I try not to, but Borderlands aggravates the hell out of me because I lost two of my best tournament players who literally spent 400 hours playing Borderlands 2, so I decided to try to play it with them. I just didn't get it. It just aggravates the hell out of me how people find this game fun. It's like my one quirk. Quantic Dreams and Gearbox. But I digress. I hope it's a really amazing game. I hope Gearbox gets back on track. I really think they have some talented developers there. And I think they'll be able to pull it together, and it'll be interesting to see more in less than 4 days.
They're going to be showing more on April 3rd, which is when the remaster releases. And can I give them a little bit of praise here as well for the fact of, we're announcing this and it's coming out right now in terms of the remaster. We're not making you wait a long time to get your hands on this.
I guess I can give them credit for that, I guess. I need to see the scale of the remaster. If they did a lot of work with it, I'll be really impressed. I'll give them the credit. But until then, it feels like a $30 cash grab to help finish Borderlands 3 because we don't have any income because who's playing Battleborn?
No one anymore, but I used to, actually. I played a lot of it. Played Wrath. It was fun.
Oh my God, we have found the one guy who bought Battleborn.
Hey!
This is amazing.
Sam, we must study him.
Yes, we will.
I bought the gold edition.
Man.
Oh, you poor soul. You poor soul.
I think I got 80 hours in the game, actually. Not gonna lie. They played the crap out of it. That was before Overwatch, though, and then Overwatch hit, and it was, long forgotten.
Yeah.
Dust in the wind.
Have you guys heard of this? You know the store Five Below? Have you heard of it?
Yes.
It's like a new take on the dollar store thing. They have them. They're popping up all over the place. But I was in one probably last year. And they had a shit ton stack of Battleborn.
Oh yeah,
they're not gonna move those.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
It makes you wonder if some jerk, I would do this if I had the money, would go in and buy every copy and see what happens on NBD. Just buy 80 copies of Battleborn just to see Matt Piscatella rub his eyes and go, huh? Why is this thing back on the chart?
I'll just send them to random people and be like, people I don't like, just send them a copy of Battleborn.
I think that's going to be my new thing. I think that's going to be my shtick. I'm going to find people I don't like, get their addresses, and send them copies of Bloodborne.
Oh, no, guys. So it'll be the Dark Brotherhood in the Elder Scrolls and Skyrim, but instead of just we know, it is a signed copy of Battleborn, and that's how they know they're marked.
And all that's contained within the copy is a USB stick.
Dear God.
There were 3 games in that period where I was like, ooh, somebody is going to get hurt. And it wasn't Overwatch. I was looking at Overwatch.
No. We knew it was going to be Overwatch. It was from Blizzard. Come on.
The other one was, what was the name of it? It was another hero shooter. It was on Xbox.
Oh, on Xbox? I don't know. Because I thought you were about to say Cliff Bleszinski's game.
No. His was a little bit later. There was another one. It was also it looked like Battleborn. It was like Animal.
Oh, you're talking about that game that got delisted a while ago. The game that was in game preview. You're talking about
Dauntless. No, not Dauntless. Gigantic.
Yeah, Gigantic. I was like, ooh, man, Gigantic. That's bad timing.
You know what? My favorite quote from Randy Pitchford was just before Battleborn launched, and people asked him, do you fear launching this close to a Blizzard game? And he said, Blizzard has never made a game as high quality as we have.
Oh,
that's a direct quote from Randy Pitchford.
That's a statement. Wow.
Some of these things you kind of look at and you go, okay, well, this could kind of go either way. It was just something about it. I was looking at what Overwatch, and believe me, I'm not an Overwatch player. I was just looking at what Overwatch was doing.
Yeah,
his characters. Then I was looking at Battleborn, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, look, I will give wisdom to any developer out there right now. Never launch beside a Blizzard game. Doesn't matter if it's a new IP or whatever. Just don't launch beside a Blizzard game, because there is a good share of the market that will just buy it because of the pedigree that Blizzard has. And the biggest thing is if you go through Blizzard's 20-year like their past 20 years of games, try to find a bad one.
People will buy their games off the strength of the CGI like trailers and stuff.
Oh man, I've been hooked off those trailers since StarCraft. Since the original StarCraft came out. Are you kidding me? Their cinematic quality has been on the oh man, don't even get me started. I can't. No, keep going.
All right, so what I will say, and this is my on-the-record conversation about Borderlands 3, I'm excited that fans of the series are getting what they want. It's been a long time in coming. I don't know how many more E3s I was going to have to live through to hear Borderlands 3 is really going to get revealed this time, guys. But I'm really happy for the fans. I know it's got a huge following, and I really wish the best for the developers and just the game in general. I just hope it does really well.
Do you?
Yeah, I you know, as much flack as I get from people on this, like, because apparently my whole brand is Baldur's Gate 2 and shitting on David Cage. By the way, I got tagged by 26 different people in that David Cage tweet of him saying, you don't need a PlayStation to play Quantic Dreams games anymore. The best quote that I was tagged in was, Nicholas Downey, come get your man. He's wiling out. I'm just like, no.
Amazing.
Guys, stop this. And like one of the quote tweets David Cage actually liked, and I'm like, oh my God, does he actually know I dislike him this much? Oh, crap. This is going to be really awkward at a developer interview at some point. Oh, the panel has David Cage. Me? Oh, I've got a meeting somewhere.
Hey, Sam, the story's going to be great when Nick has to tell it that he got trapped in the elevator with David Cage at E3. That's how karma works. You have to work out the differences.
The only way that could get worse.
You're yelling and screaming, and all, Nick is all, there can only be one.
The only way that could get more terrible is Randy Pittsburgh in E3, and he's like, hey, you want to see a magic trick? I'm running. I don't want to see none of your magic tricks, sir. I'm running.
Oh,
we can move on to our next topic here. And this one is it's an interesting one. So Control, which is the latest upcoming game from Remedy, they just there was a leak. We now have confirmation of the release date. It's August 27th. And everyone can start, if you've got an extra code around that time, you know where to send it. Send it to Sam, because Sam needs to hoard codes of Control. I just have a feeling. So Remedy has posted a comprehensive breakdown of the various additions between platforms, detailing what you can expect when you pre-order Control. So not only, by the way, is there exclusive content only available on PlayStation, if you buy a physical version, you actually miss out on content as well. So there's stuff that's in the digital deluxe.
Doing
it's so weird.
It is such a ridiculously un-Remedy thing to do. That's why I don't get it.
That's Sam. That's kind of what I'm looking at the whole thing, and I'm like, this is like an SAT question.
Yeah,
like it is this because of the marketing deal that they have with PlayStation potentially, or what is it like?
What this is this was explained on Reddit. Is in terms of what editions and what content goes where and everything else, that's not up to Remedy. That's on the publisher. So this is 505 Games that's technically on this stint.
Really?
And it's not surprising. 505 Games, the past little bit, has been on some interesting ideas on how they think they should market their games that they're publishing. So Control got a release date. It's an Epic Games Store exclusive. There's exclusive missions for only the digital deluxe version on the PlayStation 4.
So not only is it a PlayStation exclusive mission, you have to buy the deluxe digital only version on PlayStation.
Yeah, if you buy the physical collector, or the physical one, there's a retail exclusives like the statue, or whatever the case may be, like the physical items, but you don't get certain missions. If you buy the collector's edition, it's like, so if I buy the collector's edition, I'm not going to get all the content. And this only seems more abhorrent when we're just coming off of Sekiro, which gave us an amazing collector's edition for a bargain store price.
Mm-hmm.
And now this comes out. Like with EA, I understand the flow charts on how to buy your games because they've got Origin, or they've got EA Access Premier, which is only available on PC. So they give an earlier date because that's more expensive. They have the EA Access date, and they have the launch date. So I can understand where the confusion can come in. So I get the chart. But Control's a single player game. It shouldn't be this complicated. It should be, this is the standard edition. This is the deluxe edition. You get DLC in the deluxe edition. The end. I don't know why it's got to be this complicated.
I mean, it shouldn't be this complicated. You shouldn't need a flow chart to understand this kind of stuff. I say that as a massive Remedy fan who's absolutely still picking this up. And I'm still absolutely grabbing Control because there's going to be a steelbook, and that's nice. And I love Remedy's games, and the reception has been incredibly positive from anyone who's actually played it, anyone who's seen the behind the scenes footage like I did at E3. But this is nonsense. It really is.
Yeah, can I jump in for a second there?
Of course. Please.
This is what I want to say. I'm also a huge Remedy fan, and I know, we have fun with Quantum Break or whatever. Quantum Break, I like to make fun of it, but overall, Quantum Break is okay. It is what it is, right? It's not my favorite Remedy game, but it is what it is. It's almost like they have this game and they think they have more than what they have. If that makes sense.
Unfortunately, Eric, I know what you mean, and I kind of get that feeling too.
Mm-hmm. It's like you need to take this game and kind of explain it or make it as easy as possible, because this is the kind of game that could be DOA.
Right.
It's
not.
Well, no, you definitely don't hope not, but there's not a ton. This sounds wrong to say this. I don't think there's a ton of people checking for a Remedy game outside of huge fans. So you're trying to convince, not us, you're trying to convince those who don't even know who Remedy is.
No, that's true. That's a good point.
They've been pretty much exclusive for a while now. They're on multi-platform again. This is where you need to just say, this is what it is. This is simple. We want you to play this game. You shouldn't even be doing special mission content. And maybe that was something put in place a while ago. You shouldn't be doing any of this.
I mean, there's a reason you've seen that stuff disappear. It's because it confuses players, and at the end of the day, it doesn't actually accomplish anything.
Right.
There's a reason that practice is almost gone.
Right.
And so that's the frustrating thing about this is it's why are you doing this? The Remedy hardcore, the people who have known them since, Max Payne, Alan Wake, blah, 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 like you or me, Eric, we were interested anyways. Right. We saw the name Remedy and we saw the gameplay and we're like, okay, yeah, we're in. This is cool.
Exactly.
But that, as much as I hate it, Remedy games appeal to a very particular niche. They are cinematic games, yes, but they're a very particular style of cinematic game. And as a result, they don't have broad market appeal. This is a time you should be pushing ads and pushing previews and stuff and not doing this. And I know, a lot of this probably is on the publisher and not Remedy. I get that. But it needs to be said nonetheless.
Remedy's probably looking at oh my God, what is going on here? What they have over that. And I just want to throw out another game that kind of went through this. You guys might remember Deus Ex, Mankind Divided.
Yes, exactly. I remember.
They were pulling some weird pre-order shenanigans, and I think there was a little more there was more vocal around it at that point, where people talking about that, and they pulled back on that.
That was all that whole issue with Deus Ex was really complicated because that came down to greedy publisher issues. Because I believe Deus Ex is published by Square Enix.
Yes.
And Square Enix was on there. We need to monetize the hell out of everything. How can we monetize Deus Ex?
Right.
And
how many millions of copies of Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
I thought it was a fail.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, In what universe can you sell 12 million copies of Tomb Raider reboot and say it's a failure? I mean, and thank God I wrote about this, the new CEO of Square Enix, when he came in 2017, immediately said, hey, there's been some nonsense going on. My predecessor had some weird expectations. He said basically the PR friendly version of that.
Yeah.
So
all I'll say in terms of Control is Control's going to be a great game. I might pick it up on PlayStation instead of Xbox just for the exclusive missions. But this is a hill I died on back in the competitive days of Xbox 360 with Call of Duty. Multi-plat exclusive missions or content is shitty. Period. End of story. If I'm spending $60 on the same freaking game that you're spending it on, there's no reason our copies should vary.
Right. And Nick, I'll say this. It's a shitty practice. I've never been down with it. But that being said, I understood it when it came to a huge game like Call of Duty. I understood it when it came to a game like Destiny. I didn't agree with it, but I understood why you would try to do it. Right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't understand why the hell you're trying to do it on Control.
Exactly. Like, it feels like you're punishing the people who have kind of stuck with you. It's like, this isn't a multiplayer game where you're trying to get the esports crowd. And it's like you said, it's still bad then. But here it's like, okay, I have to wait a month or two longer to play an expansion because I made the crime of being a long-term Remedy fan. Go me. Like,
this looks like, if I may say this, you know what this looks like?
Sure.
It looks like there's a tremendous install base on PlayStation 4. We're not sure what the install base is on Xbox, right? And people didn't really, from what we can tell, support Quantum Break. So it could be that just that simple and that weird.
I think
that's a heck of a gamble, though. That's the issue.
It's a major gamble, and that's the way. I mean, I'm just me trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out.
Sure. I understand. You're thinking out loud.
What I think this is, and I'm not here to like defend Remedy's honor because I'm not a massive Remedy fan. I think they make really great games. I agree with Sam. They're not easy to market. I don't think this is like PlayStation coming in and being like, we want exclusive missions on Control. I don't think PlayStation gave a crap. I think 505 went to PlayStation and went, we'll give you exclusive content if you give us money. And PlayStation was like, yeah, sure, I guess. Okay. It's a single player game. Their audience loves it. It's easy. They have an audience that would be very interested in this game. And let's face it, I believe this is the first Remedy game in like over a decade to hit a PlayStation console.
I think since Max Payne, but let me double check that.
No, I think it was what was the one? It was the one on I can't think of the name of it. Yeah, but check Sam.
Since Max Payne 2, excuse me. Max Payne 2.
Okay, so it's been a long time. So they're taking a gamble going with a different install base and going that way. I really think 505 is the one pushing this because it seems to be their MO at the moment. But this is a really shitty practice, and I just really don't like it. And I know, as Eric said, I get it with Destiny, I get it with Xbox, but even when I played on Xbox, I thought it was shitty that PlayStation 3 users had to wait a month to get the maps. It's shitty. You bought the same seasons pass I did. You spent the same good money I did. Why do you deserve to wait a month longer because of your console or platform preference? It's crappy.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. It's shitty, it's archaic, and it doesn't make sense in a single player game to me. Like, I never felt like, I remember there was, back before I had a PS4, I remember Watch Dogs, the original one, had PlayStation exclusive missions. I don't think I ever missed those missions or ever wanted to play those missions or anything like that. I don't think it's a big deal. I didn't realize Skyrim had exclusive DLC.
Skyrim, it wasn't. Okay, now wait a minute. Skyrim, it was not exclusive DLC. Skyrim, it was, dear God in heaven, the PS3 is a disaster to develop for. We can't release it yet.
Oh, okay. So it was a development delay for the PS3 version. Because I was going to say Skyrim looked terrible on PS3 anyway. It ran like...
There was, not to derail us too much, but there was a memory leak issue that it meant. The longer you played, saves got worse and worse. They took longer and longer, and it got to the point where they realized if they tried to add the DLC, it would just crash it completely. So they had to revamp it for like 6 months to make it work.
Yeah. So, like I said,
that's the way I see it. I'm sorry. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. Is like you said, they're probably looking at it like this is the type of game that, you know, statistically look at PlayStation gamers they kind of rock with, and it's stupid. I mean, if I was in the boardroom, I'd be like, we need everybody to be on board with this game. I don't think we need to divide it up this way. Because if I'm looking at that, I would say, okay, well, if we feel like PlayStation gamers kind of lean towards this game, they're going to pick it up anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Why do we need to?
It's not like it's not
split
where you're trying to sway
base?
a casual base, right? You're not going to sway someone to go buy a PlayStation 4 to like buy Control for exclusive missions. Like a casual gamer will go buy a PlayStation if Call of Duty competitive is played on PS4 and the DLC is available there first. A lot of people switched because of that.
Right.
Not like gigantic numbers, but there were people that legitimately switched for that only play Call of Duty. No one is going to switch their platform or preference for Control.
No.
And it just seems stupid and a waste of money in both parties' regards. It just seems stupid. I don't like it, and we're gonna move on to a topic I'm actually really interested to talk to with you guys about. So it's a discussion topic for tonight. Sony's state of play. So Sony's state of play, very much like a Nintendo Direct, and people will get mad at me because I said this on Twitter and people got angry at me. It's Inside Xbox, Nintendo Direct, Sony state of play. These are our update shows now. That's what these are.
Video newsletters.
Yeah. So I want to get, before we dive into what was actually contained within state of play, I want your guys' thoughts, not necessarily on the content, just the format to start with. Did you guys like the format? So we'll start with Sam.
There's two sides of me here. The gamer side of me loved the format. The writer side of me hated the format. Because it was much more difficult to write everything up. I think if all you have is game announcements and you don't want to do any developer interviews and stuff like that, then yes, this is a good format, and I liked it.
Right on. Eric.
Yeah, I did like the format because I like, excuse me, and this is me being a selfish gamer, I like things that don't really waste my time and kind of just get in and tell me, what's doing. Do I think they could probably add a little bit more as far as maybe have like a host that kind of moves from segment to segment? Because I actually do think that's something cool that Nintendo does. It kind of gives like that human factor to it.
Right.
And that's just me giving a nitpick.
Sure.
But no, I like that it was like fast paced. It was in, it was out. And, you can kind of get it and move on. Because I'll be honest with you guys, and this isn't me dunking on Inside Xbox. I just still think it goes on too long. So I typically go now and just kind of watch a YouTube synopsis of it. Especially because like sometimes when it comes on, I just can't sit for that long and watch all of it.
Sure.
So yeah. And I do think there are times where they have really good information. I do think at times they kind of go a little too long with some of the other stuff. And me personally, I would say, okay, if, we're talking to a developer quick, boom, boom. If you want more information, go to the YouTube page, whatever, because the person that's going to seek that out is going to do that. Not everybody kind of wants to see that.
Right? Agreed. They have tightened it up some.
Yeah.
The most recent episode was like 48 minutes, but it can go a little further.
Right. So it's not about Inside Xbox, but as far as Nick's asking about the format of this, I do like it. I thought it was quick, it was in, it was out. Now, as far as what they showed, that's debatable.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Jared, did you get a chance to check it out?
Jared?
Sorry, the audio cut out there for me, so I heard a blip. I heard a bloop.
No. Did you get a chance to?
No,
watch?
I actually never got around to watch State of Play. I was working at the time, but I've definitely heard lots of feedback, and definitely honestly, it's our very, very first episode. It's not going to be the best. It's going to be a little rough, and of course, just like what we used to do with Inside Xbox and Nintendo Directs, the more that they do them, the more refined they'll end up being in how they'll take the fan feedback and refine the show and make it better and make it more enjoyable for people down the road. So I don't really have much to say on it other than it's the first one. Yeah, it's not gonna be the greatest, so later on down the road it might get better, might not. We just kind of have to see the direction it goes in. That's all I got.
All right, yeah, fair enough. I love the format. As Sam stated, as a writer, it's infuriating because you have 17 minutes and then you have like 17 articles to write. Where Xbox, you get something and then you have about 5 minutes of talking before they go to another announcement. So it's kind of nice to have gaps, so to speak.
Yeah.
I love the format. I'm weird, okay? Like the whole like pulling out couches at PSX, I love that. Inside Xbox, I love the the corniness of it. I love the announcements. Nintendo Directs, I've always loved the Nintendo Directs, and I like how Sony's handling State of Play. It's fast paced. You give the information you want to share, and you get out. It's really fan friendly, and it's something that casual gaming audience will want to consume because it's just showing off games they can see. It's like when you go into GameStop and they've got the TV rolling constant trailers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That people love that stuff. So
Yeah.
The format was fine. However, the reactions on social media, and keeping in mind social media always blows everything out of proportion.
Of course.
It's interesting to see the social media reaction more in the YouTube space versus than the Twitter space. In Twitter space, everything went, it's a learning curve, blah, 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 blah. They still have stuff to show, yada, yada, yada. The YouTube space has really not been kind to State of Play. As it sits right now, and this is after they deleted the original video and re-uploaded it for whatever it was.
Oh boy.
It's currently sitting at 114,000 views. It has 2.2 thousand likes and a whopping 11,000 dislikes.
Jeez.
Whoa.
It got dive bombed.
Yeah, seriously.
And to give you an idea, like compared to a Nintendo Direct or even a really bad Inside Xbox episode, it never gets ratioed that bad. I wasn't overly impressed with what they showed, but there's so much to unpack with the situation PlayStation is in. And people need to not take this as negative. This is just what it is. The thing is that people get mad about PlayStation VR getting the spotlight. Like whenever PlayStation VR comes on E3, everyone rolls their eyes and goes, oh, here we go. But if PlayStation didn't support PSVR, those same people would be rolling their eyes going, oh, look at them, not supporting another peripheral.
Exactly.
So it's hypocritical to me. Like I can't do VR. My stomach doesn't do it. It does not work for me, which is disappointing because I want to play some of these VR games, but it's not going to happen for me. But I appreciate the effort that Sony is putting into this. It's there part of me that's salty that they abandoned 15 million PS Vitas to double down and like put 5 times the effort into a less than 5% adoption rating. Little salty. But the thing is I applaud them because Sony is breaking a mold that they had gotten over the years of not supporting their their secondary devices. Right. Everyone remembers like the Sony Xperia phones that were supposed to be amazing with your PlayStation 4 and all these other side devices that they've worked on over the years that inevitably either didn't take off or they took off well. The PSP did insanely well. But them showing off a bunch of PlayStation VR, I think the State of Play is a great platform for them to focus in on PlayStation VR because when it comes to big showcase time, they're not wasting big audience time with this stuff. This State of Play is like designed for your hardcore PlayStation guy that wants to know this information. So the VR news is an important part of this. And I know that's where a lot of the criticism is. They're like, well, why would they dedicate most of it to PlayStation VR? That's not even 5% of their install base, because they have a ton of VR content they're dropping and it deserves the shine that it does.
And not just that, but how do you sell more people on PSVR? You don't just talk to the people who already own it. You're trying to get people who don't own it to want to be on board, right? And if someone is holding off because they know they're seeing that you're supporting it, and like you said, it's a double-edged sword. But if they're seeing that you're supporting it, now you have people kind of saying, well, I do want one, but I may wait to see what they do with the PS5 version of it, right? But when I do get one, I know I have tons of content to go back and play.
Yep.
You know, and again, people have to remember, get it into your head, and we see it every time a direct is announced. People get this grandiose idea that it's supposed to be AAA banger announcements.
Yeah, and it can't be. You're going to run out at some point. You can't keep that up forever. And here's the reality. I appreciated Sean Layden coming out and bluntly stating to Game Informer, look, we just didn't have enough to show, all right? He said, we did not have enough to show at an E3 conference to make it worth people's time. And we as a company decided if we don't have enough to do a conference, we're not going to be there, period. That's just the way it is. Okay, I may not agree, but I respect you. I respect you for saying that, Sean. But if Sean said that, how are you expecting them to have great announcements at an event before E3 if they wouldn't have great announcements at E3 itself? There's a disconnect here. It's not making sense. It's not clicking. Right. It was a first outing. It was a first outing,
and it's March. So it's like, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's just
no. It's fine. Like, this is the first time they're doing it. I imagine there's probably going to be at least one more this year, probably in July or August. I would say, like a little after E3. But still in the summer, and maybe announce what the smaller stuff is going on in the fall. Like, hey, when's Concrete Genie actually coming out? Since it's been delayed, and stuff like that.
I was thinking they might actually have like two more. Like,
you think two more? Well, they got PSX
and one fall. Right. But again, with these types of things, they're small. Like, again, people have to remember video newsletter formats. That's what they are. They're updates to what's going on with these companies, right?
Right.
Because even when Nintendo, they'll introduce like a new game in their direct, but a lot of times they'll tease and tell you that we're going to talk about XYZ. And if they have a title that they feel is big enough, you kind of know it going in.
Yeah.
But even coming out of those, when they're announcing, hey, guess what? We're bringing this game to Nintendo Switch, whatever, during a direct that you didn't know about, people are still like, oh, that was trash.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, everything. Okay, if it's not for you, it's for the person sitting next to you. Right. They have a fan base. All these companies have a base of people they have to talk to. Not everything's going to hit you, and not everything's going to miss you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I look at Inside Xbox. The whole of the show is not speaking everything to me that I'm looking forward to play, but there is something I can take away from it, and that's what it's all about. You should be able to take something away.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't get something in this one, then maybe the next one will.
Right.
Doesn't mean that it's over. Oh, it's over. It's a wrap.
Right, exactly.
They didn't show me anything I need, but things are coming.
Look, I've said this time and time again. If you tune into Inside Xbox to sell you an Xbox and you're not sold on Xbox yet, this ain't gonna do it.
Exactly. Well, that is true.
Because and
the same thing with the PSVR.
Yeah, like you get to be Iron. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw Iron Man, I'm like, oh my god, it's the Square Enix game. Or I'm like, oh my god, it's the game. And then it's like this like weird arm motion. I'm like, nope, this is a VR game. But it's dope that they have a format where they can share news like this, like Concrete Genie. They delayed it to fall.
It's their big fall game.
But
no, I'm not being sarcastic.
Quite seriously.
Okay, yeah. Look, I will say this. Concrete Genie looks amazing. It's one of my most anticipated PS4 games, right up there with Dreams. But the valid concern, or not concern, because no one should be concerned. Concern gets thrown around way too much in video game conversation.
Or nervous.
Yeah, nervous.
Why are you nervous? It's a video game.
I get nervous about like paying rent. I don't know about you guys, but things like bills, I get nervous about. I don't get nervous
going to the doctor,
Yeah, I don't get nervous. Why look like I don't look at my PlayStation Vita and get nervous. Like
right.
Is anyone else but me gonna care about this in 5 years?
If that makes you nervous, you need to take a vacation.
Right.
But the thing is like they came out, they showed off a bunch of PSVR games. Like if you're a non-PlayStation VR owner and you're just looking for PS4 stuff, they came out, they showed a bunch of PSVR stuff, they delayed Concrete Genie, and that's the show.
Right.
Like I can understand where the salt mine is coming from. But the people that came in with the expectation that they were going to, we got a new Days Gone trailer and we got that Mortal Kombat 11 trailer as well. And by the way, that Mortal Kombat trailer had the best music to go to a Mortal Kombat trailer ever.
Yeah,
and I will fight anyone to the death over that music choice.
I was like, only Ed Boon would have the balls to do Wreck Yourself.
That was perfect. I'm not even a big fan of that song, and it was
right.
perfect.
Yeah, it fit really, really well. He picks good music for his trailers.
He really does. You have to give it to him.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah. So, and to reference Glorious Warren chat, the second party AAA exclusive still yet to be announced for the PS4 by a quote unquote second party studio. That's going to be Demon Souls. I'm just going to throw that right out there. Blue Point's making Demon Souls. Come back when they announce it and thank me now. It's already been said by numerous people that they have this one in their pocket. I believe actually on Sacred Symbols last episode, Colin Moriarty said that he knows what the game is and that it's in their pocket. He just doesn't understand why they won't announce it, which makes me feel like it's a lot closer than people realize it is. And this might be a surprise drop, one of those things they announce in 6 months later it comes out kind of deals, which would be huge.
It could, in fact, dare I say, be their other fall game. Considering that those 3 games are not coming out this fall. Like, Eric, would you be okay with that, for example?
Yeah.
In theory? If that was like, hey, all right, yeah, they're going to take a little while longer, but hey, there's this instead. We got this.
No, I told you guys, like, the whole Last of Us thing is like us just having some fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but if Last of Us 2 didn't, they can take as long as they need to. I'm not in any hurry to get it. I want to play it, but you take all the time you need.
Yeah,
and it's these people. I told you, Sam. People are absolutely mental. It's like, why? Even if they could, why would you want The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Death Stranding this year?
Yeah, it's like, come on, let
I want
other
them
stuff
now.
breathe.
Like,
exactly. Like, we got plenty of other games.
Like, what I love is like there's always this thing with like it's so sensitive on social media if you talk about the big 3. About the PlayStation games, because like half the community believes they're still coming out this year somehow, and the other half is just screaming and running in circles, and I don't understand it. But the thing is that all these people that are celebrating, and like people think I celebrate that these games are coming in 2019, and I'm like, no, I'm not celebrating. I'm just telling you that there's no way that these teams need to crunch to get these games out the door faster for us when we already have a slew of amazing games that are coming out this year. And people that are like, Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and what's the other one? Death Stranding aren't coming out this year. I'm like, yeah. And then PlayStation has an absolute insane year in 2020 with those 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, regardless of the fact, these games will come out eventually. And I think people are just, I think Sony made a few errors in when they decide to show these off. I feel like,
I agree.
I feel Ghost of Tsushima was a good idea, showing it off where it is now. I think, if it comes out next year, doing E3 2018 to launching in 2020, that's a good amount of time. Last of Us Part 2 got shown off too early.
Definitely.
They should not have unveiled that in 2016.
Yeah, and if you think about it, Sean's already kind of addressed that. Because when he kind of said, what we want to focus on. They still want to focus on AAA single player content, just not as much of it, right? He's not saying that they're cutting it back on what they're doing. Sam and I mentioned, we talked about this. They're going to be very much more careful about how and when they announce.
Yeah, I think they have learned their lesson. Like fantastic as they've done this generation, they did make a couple of mistakes. That's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, okay, selling people on games coming out in 4 or 5 years, like, it's kind of a risky maneuver. It seems to be going okay so far, but it's not an ideal situation. So moving forward, I think they're going to try and keep things a little closer, which might also address the question, Nick, like, I didn't get a chance to listen to the most recent episode of Sacred Symbols, but that might be what's going on there in terms of the game Colin is talking about. That's almost certainly the Demon Souls remake.
Right.
It could be a situation of, you know what, we've announced so much so far in advance. Let's try to get some goodwill by announcing this and then having it come out in 5 months.
Yeah,
that would be a good move.
And you know what? The thing is I love the fact a lot more companies are being more responsible with showing off games, because it gets really wary when you start seeing a game too much. I've hit that point with Days Gone now. I've stopped watching trailers for it because I'm like, I'm sold. I don't need a trailer every month, because ever since that Marvel E3 trailer with the like Spider-Man trailer,
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch trailers past the like 2-3 months before launch because it's like, no, because I'm not letting you ruin a key story point. And like all these Days Gone trailers are story trailers. And I'm like, no. Like, I understand what Bend is doing. People are like, oh, it's just another generic zombie, blah, 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 blah. So they're like, no, see, this is we're trying to tell you a really great story that we think you'll love.
Yeah, we're going to hit you in the feels.
Yeah.
Okay, but, yeah.
But you gotta
don't show all your feels.
Right. Like, think about it. When The Last of Us came out, if they would have shown you how that game opened in a trailer, that would have killed so much of that momentum of that game.
Dude, the original trailers and like the original setup for The Last of Us was kind of misleading. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't completely misleading, but the context surrounding the outbreak was a little misleading.
Right.
And I appreciate that. There are so many powerful moments in that game that you need to just experience for the first time. And seeing it for the first time, that takes the wind out of it.
Yeah.
It completely neuters it.
Going through that game, like when I first started that game, I went through that first segment. I put the controller down, like, holy crap!
Like, they're not playing
like,
around.
This
they're
is
not
about
kidding.
to be real, right? So I'm with Nick on this, and we talked about this ad nauseum when it came to Spider-Man. I'm like, they're killing this game because they're showing everything. Like, where are the surprises?
I liked Spider-Man, I really did, but I stand by my statement that I probably would have liked it more if I hadn't known exactly what was going to happen.
Exactly.
And I've had some people come at me like, "Oh, it was the Sinister Six. It was obviously." I'm like, "No, it really wasn't.
No.
If they had not shown those villains, certain moments would have been a big surprise. Because they showed those villains, I predicted almost every single thing that was going to happen in the game."
Yep. And I'm with Nick on Days Gone. Like, I've actually stopped watching.
I have too. I'm just covering them. I have to put them out for coverage, but I just cover them. I'm not watching them myself.
And I want to make like one point about this, like the whole thing about the game announcements and how people immediately go to this is trash and that's trash. If you think about like the average gamer who's not really in our little world of what we do on Twitter and this and that, they're not sitting back and thinking like, man, Sony hasn't really released a big game. Why? Because most of them have bought into that ecosystem knowing that those games are coming, right? And it's the same thing with Microsoft, same thing with Nintendo. Because in the meantime, there's so much extra to play. They're looking at a Red Dead, they're looking at an MLB The Show, they're looking at, whatever the case may be. The multiplats cover that. It's just in our little world, people can't wait to get something to run with. So if they don't have, like, if I don't get this major game to release, I can no longer run with the narrative, of these big bangers are coming out and your platform doesn't have this. And, we've gotten so caught up in that culture that it's like people are missing the forest for the trees.
Yes.
If you really think about how games have always released, you didn't always get a major AAA game 6 months at a clip.
No, you didn't. We're kind of spoiled in terms of how much third parties have stepped up their game.
Exactly, man. There used to be points where you waited for a while, and now, we have so many great independent titles that fall in between. So I don't understand how anybody's sitting there saying XYZ is dry or there's just nothing to play. And maybe for you it is. Maybe you run through everything. I don't know. I never have that problem. So selfishly, I'm always like, good, take your time.
Yeah,
I don't have time for you right now anyway.
Yeah, if you get a wide variety of like games that you like, man, ain't nobody got time.
Right. So it's just, I don't know. So if you're running with that narrative, everything's going to be trash to you. Everything's going to be garbage. Anytime there's a showing and they didn't announce something that you thought they should have announced, is because you've either picked some kind of weird side in a battle that's non-existent, or you need something to lord over somebody, or maybe there is that person who is genuinely disappointed they didn't hear about something that they were looking forward to. But that's why you wait for the next thing. You're getting news 24/7. Like, you may not have gotten it today, but guess what? You could wake up tomorrow and Twitter's on fire because they just announced something.
Look, the only criticism I'm going to level at State of Play that is a crime in my mind is they have this whole presentation about release dates and things coming to the platform. Then 2 days later, they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is Dream's early access date." Blah 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 blah.
Exactly.
Like,
Nick,
why wasn't that in the show? Like
seriously, it's like Dream Space has enough issues as is. It doesn't need you doing this to it.
like honestly, like
Excellent
the Dream. I want to know who's in charge of Dream's marketing, because they need to be slapped in the face, because nothing that has gone with that game goes right off the bat. Like, oh, we're giving all these people beta access, but you're NDA'd. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
or how about you have MLB The Show dropping the very next day and you didn't even like remind anybody?
Dude, I have seen more coverage of MLB The Show from Matt Piscatello's shameless microtransactions buying tweets than I have from any gaming website put together. I've seen like nothing. And it's like, I'm sure it's a good game. They always deliver good baseball games, but
right. It sells respectably, but it's just, and maybe that's why they feel they don't need to talk about it. Maybe it falls under niche.
You want to know what's funny about that whole thing with the MLB The Show is because none of us ever talk about it. Like, you see, like when people are console warring on Twitter, people are always like, this game, that game, blah 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 blah. And I've completely lost my point because I just went off the rails. That is freaking terrible.
You lost yourself.
Yeah, I just completely lost my
Twitter impersonation. That's basically what it sounds like every day.
Yeah, it's just I get so worn out on all this stuff. It's just
I'm pretty exhausted. I know we always say that, but I'm legit just exhausted. I'm like,
well, like when I remembered my point now. The thing is people always forget about MLB The Show because, like, even when I see guys console warring on Twitter, they'll be like, "Oh, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2," and they'll list all these exclusives, and they'll find all these like Japanese titles that no one like is gonna buy outside of like Japan and the people that are looking for those games. But they forget MLB The Show, which is like the premium baseball game that my whole Twitter won't shut up about right now. Because apparently everyone on my Twitter likes MLB The Show, and my whole workplace, we have a MLB The Show like fantasy teams or whatever. They all play in the same league. There's like 8 guys at my work that do this.
MLB The Show is serious as far as like people play it. Like, Glorious War saying, it charts NPD. Like,
yeah. I think that what that is like sports games. We never talk about, like, you don't see anyone in our community being vocal when sports games launch. That's a huge casual driving market. Like when Madden launches, there's a couple of my like super like bro guys that I hang out with. They'll be like, "Yeah, Madden's coming out," but I don't see a lot of people just like hyping up the sports games and everything else, which is a shame because MLB The Show is one of the few sports games I think where it's one of those things where I don't really care about baseball. I don't really care about the game, but I appreciate how many modes and how much work they put in every year, especially as a Madden fan who's used to them being like, "Ho, ho, ho, we added a new animation. Give us $60."
Yeah, I think a part of that is just the fact that it is a sports game, and usually, while there's a lot that goes into like 2K and an MLB The Show, and like you said, yeah, Madden, they phone it in most of the time to me, but ultimately it is that same thing, right? The people who are going to buy that are going to buy it. They don't need to talk about it. They know they're going to buy it. Like, my cousin is, for all intents and purposes, he's a casual gamer, so he's a PlayStation gamer, but every year his thing, I can log in right now and see him. He's playing 2K, right? And then he'll text me and say, "Hey, what do you think? I saw the commercial for this. Should I pick it up?" That's basically how we do it. So he likes, games like Uncharted. He picked up Red Dead, even though he wrote me back, it's kind of slow. I'm like, sorry, about that. But like Spider-Man, he'll pick up that one big game, but other than that, it's all NBA 2K.
Yep,
and he's good with that.
Yeah, it is. It is what it is. The thing is there's great games coming to Xbox this year. There's great games coming to PlayStation this year, and there's a great ton of games coming to Nintendo Switch this year, and there's great games coming to PC. The only thing that's not getting great games this year is my PlayStation Vita.
Well, yeah,
crickets.
The thing with the Vita is Sony really just relegated that to getting support from the indie market. You know that, right? Already.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the thing is, too, if you really think about it, there wouldn't even be much they could do with it because while it's still like a dope machine, I love it to death. It is old.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where I see the limitless potential it had. It just makes me sad that it wasn't fully realized, and it is what it is.
Well, not from a first party standpoint. I mean, for them, no, but there's a lot of support for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but it just wasn't from a first party, like a Sony standpoint.
With Sony's first party standard, like they were like, we put an Uncharted game on there, we had a Killzone game, we had like there was like, here's our big IPs with standalone Vita versions, and then nothing came after that. They're like, oh well, attach rates aren't good, so yeah, we'll hope third party and indies support this. Whoop.
Yeah, which is crazy because they supported the PSP.
Yeah, it's just weird. The Vita was a weird step. I think Sony was in a weird place coming off the PS3 generation, but as we've seen, completely nailed this generation. I told myself after my PS3 spending as much money as I did and then it breaking after a year and a half, I said I'd never buy another PlayStation console. And I have a PS4 in my home and I enjoy the hell out of it. I own a PlayStation Vita. So that speaks volumes to how far the brand has come to me.
Yeah. That's the funny thing too, man. I still have like my OG Fat Boy PS3.
Yeah.
And so far, I mean, it's knock on wood, it still works and everything. I don't run to turn it on because it'll be updating until Sarah goes to middle school. You know? So, but damn, man. But when it came to 360s, I think I had 6. Yeah.
See, I had my OG PS3 break. I bought an Xbox 360 Elite.
Mm-hmm.
That red ringed about 3-4 years later. And then it might have been 3 years. I think it was 3 years. And then I bought the R2D2 Xbox, which worked all the way up until well after my Xbox One, actually.
I still have my 360 R2.
Nice.
Even if it burns out, I'll keep it, man, because it just looks cool.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But my OG 360, man, that thing red ringed like 4 or 5 times, and as soon as they dropped the new chipset, I got that one, and that one was fine. And then I didn't get any more red rings. But then when the Slim came, I got that, and then I got the R2. So yeah.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. We'll be wrapping up here in a minute. So this has been a great episode, guys.
It really has been.
Yep.
It was good. Eric, can I just say how nice it is to have you back?
Thanks, guys, man.
Yeah.
It really is nice.
Definitely.
It's great to be back, guys. I'm happy to definitely be back and have a little bit of normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
It's always good. Yeah, this has been great. Great stuff going on. Any big games we need to look out for this week? Or
I can't, Nick. I can't take it.
All I care about is Sekiro right now, man.
Coming out this week. I mean, Nick, I'm going to be assigning you to write up the releases coming in April article. You got to do that tomorrow. But as far as I'm aware, the big games coming out in April are Days Gone and Mortal Kombat 11.
Okay, well, Days Gone Collector's Edition is on lock and paid for.
Same.
But
I got a lot.
Mortal Kombat 11, I need to figure out how. I want to get that game so bad because I love Mortal Kombat. I'm terrible at fighting games. Like, I am horrid. I could get beaten by a 3-year-old using a Sega Genesis gamepad in Mortal Kombat 10. But in all seriousness, I love the characters and I love playing through the story mode, and the towers were really fun. And I just really enjoyed myself with Mortal Kombat X, 10, whatever you want to call it. So I want to pick up 11, but $80.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
You know what? I've started having a rule about when it comes to like the Mortal Kombat games, or excuse me, or some of the NetherRealm games in general. I don't play a ton of them online. Most of them I play on my own, unless somebody I know wants to play. Right? I just wait for that inevitable full-on collection where like it just includes everything, and then I feel better about it. Because I just did that with Injustice 2 over the holiday. Like I picked up the legendary.
Yep. I mean, you wait because inevitably you do. Inevitably, it comes down in price, and you can pick up all the characters and play, Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing with Soul Calibur 6.
Yep,
I'm
I'm waiting that one out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like Mortal Kombat XL, which is like all the DLC characters and the game. I think it went on sale on the Christmas sale on Xbox for $5. Like,
See,
if you can wait it out, it's well worth it. It's not if you're not like a huge fighter fan. It's not like you're going to be worried about full online lobbies or anything like that.
I lose you guys.
nope.
Nope.
So there.
You're there, bud. We got ya.
Oh, I'm picking up Yoshi's Crafted World for
Ooh.
man. She got that demo. We did everything in that demo. She's about it. She's that. Like she games with me. Like she'll play certain things, and she still likes playing Super Mario 3D World.
Mm-hmm.
I put that demo on for her.
Yep.
She played it. We played it every day. We found everything in it, and then she kept asking me, "When is it coming out? I want to do more levels." I'm like, Daddy's gonna get it. I'm gonna pick it up. But yeah, she's every time she sees a picture of it, she's let's go. So yeah,
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
it really is.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that game is like all her speed, you know. And the thing is, like, she doesn't want to play anything by herself. You know, she wants me to play everything with her. But I'm down with that. But yeah, that game is like, I mean, people could say it's kiddie or whatever the case, and that's fine. But it sparks the
There's
imagination.
nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
You can still enjoy it.
Exactly.
I'm tired of people telling me what I can and can't enjoy. Okay, like
Facts.
like if someone's like, "Oh, why are you playing that game?" I'm like, "Screw you! It's easy
because I want to
have a good time."
Yeah.
Like, are you buying all my games for me? We can have a discussion then.
Sir,
I do all the time. You buy me my games. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Sir, I logged into Roblox 20 days in a row to get the 100% completions and achievements for that game. If you want to talk to me,
oh my goodness.
That's amazing, Nick.
But seeing her get excited about stuff like that, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I was telling Sam, I said she's so funny, man, because like she doesn't really like she likes the songs and stuff from Frozen, but she won't watch it because the snow monster scares her.
That's amazing.
Oh my God,
but
horrible.
But she wants to sit like with me, like she'll sit between my legs or whatever as I'm playing Bloodborne and like tell me what to do. I'm like, there's this disgusting, scary monster spitting poison all over the place, and you're like, you're good with this.
You're like, I'm not sure if I should be letting you watch this.
Exactly. I'm like, what do you? If the snow monster from Frozen scares you, get out of here. What's wrong with you?
See, Eric, I had the same thing because like I was playing Dusk today while my oldest was up, and she's just sitting on a chair beside me, and I'm like, "Oh, honey, don't look at the screen. This is a really graphic video game." And my wife looks at me and goes, "You started playing Doom when you were 3." I'm like, "Yeah, look how I heard that. She's not watching."
There you go.
But like, no, it's crazy. Like,
man, it reminds me of when I was a kid. When I mean, you know how the what am I trying to say here? Like the rules get less and less stringent the more and more kids there are. Like Nick, I'm sure you experienced that.
Oh yeah.
And well, so it was like, you know, when I was a kid, it was like, Halo. I don't know about that, Sam. I don't know about that.
Right.
I'm not so sure. And now it's like, Micah, you want to watch Samuel play Bloodborne? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how like things get like looser and looser down the line. Like I was the youngest, so like whatever I want to do. Oh, he wants to play Doom. Okay. Like I remember beating Redneck Rampage, and I was like 4 years old. I didn't even understand half the language they were using, which now it still has. There's language in that game that makes me blush as a 25-year-old man. So it's always interesting to see that. Like my daughter is obsessed with Roblox, a online horse MMO, and the first level of Lego Jurassic Park. And I say the first level is because she loads it up, makes me beat the first level with her, and then she wants to go do something else. And I've replayed that level more times than I can. I don't even want to know how many times my wife has played that level.
Don't ask.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask. But no, it's really cool to watch like kids like get into it or not get into it. Like one of my buddies is like a huge like trophy hunter. He has like 200 plus platinums, and he's got 2 kids, and they could not be any more disinterested in video games. They all they do is like read books, and like they're really smart, educated kids and everything else, but like video games, put them to sleep. Like he'll be playing like Doom 2016, and they'll be like, "Dad, when are you gonna get off the TV so we can watch this nature documentary?"
Oh man.
And I'm like, that's just not normal. Your kids are psychopaths. Like, I don't know how you look at Doom and not want to play that. So, one, thanks everyone for tuning in to the Gaming Perspective podcast. We do have changes coming. I'm not sure if the next episode will be a pre-recorded upload or not, but I will keep you guys informed on Twitter in regards to what we will be doing going forward. And I had a couple of queries from people that watched the episode post us being live last week. We are not switching to Twitch. Apparently, some people thought we were switching to Twitch. We are not. Will be pre-recorded, and we will be going up still on YouTube here if you want to listen that way, and then via podcast apps and everything else once I get that all sorted out. So really cool step forward going forward, and I hope that you guys will keep interacting with us and everything else. So
we have one question in chat, if that's okay, if I can get on that first. So Project Jeff 85 asked about the Sea of Thieves update. So I'm waiting for more info on it. I'm waiting on it to come out, basically. But I actually am interested in that. I'm interested in the fishing. I'm interested in like the damage to the mast and stuff like that. I haven't been on Sea of Thieves in a good minute, but I did put quite a few hours into Sea of Thieves when it came out, in 2018, and then across the expansions, like when the Megalodon was added and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
Right on. I actually reinstalled Sea of Thieves on my PC today in anticipation of Arena, and because the PvP, that's my jam. It's my jam. And also fishing. So I'm either going to be killing people or I'm going to be fishing. So like, it's like Harvest Moon with explosives. Oh my God. Guys, I have the brilliant game idea now. I'm going to make a game. It's Harvest Moon with guns.
I need the spirit of Doc to come out of you right now.
That's too funny.
Tell me that doesn't sound amazing. Farm during the day, kill vampires by night. Be amazing. So thank you guys for tuning in the Gaming Perspective podcast. We will do outros now. Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's TOLBERT. You can find everything I write on tickgamesnetwork.com. Despite the game's best efforts, I will have a review and some guides for Sekiro coming out over the next week. So please be excited for that.
In the mortal words of Reggie, my body is ready. Jared, where can people find you?
Well, people can find me on Twitter at RageVirus_X or as well at TickGamesNetwork.com.
Right on. And Eric, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ECJackson with an X. And when I'm not there, you can also find me Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock on Brat Podcast.
Right on. And I'm Nicholas Downey, editor for the Inner Circle Games Network. You can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. Don't forget, you can also follow the official Gaming Perspective Twitter account, which will be where you will get your latest updates on the podcast clips and maybe some exclusive after hours stuff if I can come up with some ideas here. But there's going to be some changes happening. April's going to be a big month. And as Sam always says, please be excited. And we will see you guys next week, Saturday, 8 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget, you can find all your latest news and information on www.tickgamesnetwork.com.